And on a lighter note, storytellers, hey, it's Storytelling Ron. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Apostles of the Apoc. This one. This one. How's this work? This one. I did a family tabletop game, finally, with my wife, daughter, and her suitor. No boyfriends allowed in this Christian family. As soon as your daughter starts to date a boy, young man, talk about marriage with them both. I mean, hopefully it'll work. Hopefully. Anyway, so I want to talk about Apostles of the Apoc and how we played this game finally on the table. I finally got to play it on the table, which I did learn a few things. I will admit I learned a few things about the application, the logistics of this fun thing. And it was a tough game. It was 3 hours. It was actually, as a 45-year veteran GM, I will say to you guys, I admit it was a little harder than I thought, but I wasn't, fully prepped, even though I prepped and I got 2 videos to show you I prepped. But I'm going to go through it and talk to you about what I've learned and how I'm going to fix a little bit on it. It's not really the rules necessarily, although some polishing, streamline. It's more of the paper stuff and the printouts and all that. And but there's a bit of rules in there about rolling for skills and using die ranks, one of my systems. But so I want to make sure that you all can be comfortable with using simple rules most of the time, and then only use the extra bonus die rank system that I have for it. Just when you feel like they want to do a big roll or something, but when they're doing like quick things or running around and scouting or whatever, you can do some basic rolls if you want, as opposed to just using doing complicated rolls. And I like the complicated rolls, but at some point in the game when I was playing, I found that I resorted to some of the just roll a 12, just beat a 12. I would just go back to that. Like, I just keep it simple, which is totally fine. But let me pull this up. Oh, if it'll come off the tape. It's got this, oh boy, this rubber tape. Oh God, I hope it didn't take. It's not supposed to peel the paint. Come on. Man. Phew. It's got this cool rubber reusable sticky thing. Anyway, this is their map. I don't know if I heard. Look at that. Is that cool or what? Hope it's focusing. I printed these out, and that's their home base, obviously. And this is the areas they're going to. I don't know if you can. Is it too glary? And I'll show you the digital version of it. But this is the printout, and I put them together and taped it. It was way cool. They learned about each one based on their role playing and talking to the people at the home base, that had stories and rumors and old information. And they used different traits, and they used their social skill, their intellect, the researching, the trying to get to old tales from some people that went around to the borders of this area to look at beyond to see what was all, scary. And they exactly went the way I thought they would go and I'll explain it in the thing. But there was no combat. 3 hours, no combat. And the first hour was them making their characters. Let me show you this picture right here. So this is the table they're making, and the printouts and on the table. And I kind of set it up so for the picture. But there's their character sheets. This is what they saw, and this is literally all they had for it really was a theater of the mind the whole time. I had the transport ready, I had the minis there, and these are the people they encountered eventually towards the end of the thing. But and this is the home base, and they went down this way. And there is another one here that's supposed to be mountains, but I didn't print that out. I don't like the basic paper. I'm such a bummer. I bought a stack of thick card paper, which I wish I would have kept. I threw it out because I'm like, I'm never going to use this. I bought it like years ago, and it's been sitting there, and I never used it. And I do have photo paper, which I think I like a lot better. All the rest of the, this is photo paper, everyday use HP photo paper. This is photo paper, so I use photo paper to print out. And actually, I use photo paper to print out the paper maps as well. So I was going to use just paper like this, but I don't like the flimsiness of regular paper. So I probably will reprint this out again on photo paper. It's just better. It's a little, stronger. And I recommend getting HP photo paper, generally used photo paper, as opposed to like generic or non-named, only because I noticed that those ones, they smear, when I kind of accidentally rub them, whereas these ones didn't really smear when I was handling them, the ink. So the HP really doesn't smear. So there's that. So I'll probably reprint these out again for them. Although, I might keep this. I'm not sure. I guess I won't reprint them out, go jump on that, because I do like the, easy handling of this. If it was photo paper, it'd be much thicker and probably a little harder to, say, fold it or put it away. And if it gets too big, I don't know. I'm kind of indecisive about that. I'll see what they think. I'm sure they're fine with this. But I'll go to the digital to show you more about what happened. But see, isn't that cool though? Like, you're going to build up this map and it's going to get bigger and bigger. I mean, it's going to get too big for me to, I have no idea. They're obviously heading in this direction right now. I have an adventure for each of these hexes sort of set up, very lightly set up, and this one I had the least amount set up because of you'll see here, because of what I rolled. So, in the game, at the back there, you have, here, let me go digital. Go back to digital. But anyway, just fun little setup here. The one thing I regret, that you have a transport list here with all their supplies. What I regret not having on that is the actual transport and what it has, like its workshop, med lab, all the stuff that it has, so that they can see what's on the transport, so they can know what skills to have to utilize the things that are in the transport. And I kind of forgot to put that on as a printout. It's in the book, but it's in a separate little area, and I kind of want to put that together or include it in this printout for the players. So that's all there for them too as well. Yeah. Oops. That's my phone. They have all the stuff, And let me go to here. So this is the map. I did have, let me pull out the other parts of that map. There was another mountain here, which I didn't have an extra, right? It was another mountain here. Wait, let me see. It's in, go back to this thing. Okay, the mountains is on the top. I'm being making sure I get this down. Okay, that was there. And then let me go back to my hexes. Maps, hexes. And then there was it's funny, I should have printed this out, because when they were playing, I had to come back to the computer, look at this, and then go back to the table. This should have been printed out for me as a GM. I might figure out a way to maybe make these smaller and have more room for the printouts on this kind of thing, but we'll look at that in a sec. The flatlands and forest. Okay. Yeah, boy, I can't tell what these are. Flatlands here and forest here. Okay. I'm going to do this for now. Because this one, and this is just on my Foundry. I'm sorry, maybe I should pretend this is a podcast. Okay, so I making that red so I can see the token on the specific map. So each of these hexes is obviously one of the different land spots that they're going to look at. They're in the middle here with their let me put their vehicle there. Where's the vehicles on these tokens here? Oh, I didn't use vehicles, maybe. No, I do have vehicles here. That's really weird. Where are the vehicles? Here it is. Okay, the surveyor. Hex, here we go. All right, so this is their vehicle. It started here at the home base. They role played, so it took an hour actually to set up the characters, and that to me was longer than I thought, as a veteran player, because they looked at, and they're still new to the game. It's only their second game. Their first game was the Dark Ages one, and we went through that one pretty quickly. And this is the second game, as far as the family is concerned, playing this for the Lord RPG at the table. We have more time now to do it, so that's cool. Time is opened up for us. But it took about an hour to get the characters. I mean, it only takes like a few minutes to make the character, but and I take that back. They were role playing during that hour. They were role playing their characters. So I had them role play the characters, and I role played the chaplain and the colonel, who were giving them the setting. So I take that back. Making the characters pretty quick, but actually we were role playing that hour. Getting things ready, figuring out what they wanted, what gear they wanted, who trained at what, right? So all of that they were working on for that hour. So it was role playing. I mean, they would talk amongst each other as their characters, and I was the chaplain explaining different, rumors and stories. And I played the other Christians in the bunker, in the prison, or in the the fallout shelter. Well, the place they live in. About these other regions. And these other regions, by the way, the bogs and the ruins are considered high level, hexes. But I didn't explain that to him. I just said what was in each one. And they rolled, like, he would research ecology information, because the guy was a researcher, the main guy, the boy, or the man, or the guy. The wife was going to be the doctor and forager, so she was really good at finding stuff and being a doctor and healing, so that was good. And then the daughter was playing the she was a scout and sniper, so she was more of a sneak around hunting, and learned how to do that, and some electronics like and weapons repair. So some her dad taught her how to fix things. So none of them were clergy though, although I gave him glory and I gave the doctor a miracle of healing, like a nun evangelist. But they would talk to the other people in the bunker about the different hexes, or do research, and then the scout, she took a camping trips to the edges of their known territory, and would survey the other area to see what was in those hexes, what was in each region. And so their roles were pretty good. And they got a lot of, die rank. I gave them die rank bonuses because they were familiar with each other, with the people in the bunker. They were familiar, obviously they're going to be familiar with this region in the sense of getting a lot of extra bonuses to their role because it's right there. It's not like, it's not like they go way out into no man's land and then are looking at the other hexes to decide. And there's no one to talk to. There's no history of information. So obviously I gave them pretty good rolls for that, and or pretty good die rank bonuses for that. I'm just making these things red so they can see them better, as opposed to just white tokens for these little icons to show on the screen here. I can see them easier than if they're white. So I'm just doing that right now, right during the middle of this, for my own sake. And so they got high rolls, and they got to have some clues as to what was in these hexes beyond their safe mountain region. And so what I did here, if you can see on the screen, and I'll try to audio describe it. So up to the northeast is the boglands beyond. I forgot the name that have fun with the names in the game, because you know what, I didn't print this out, like the information. I should have, like the this part, I should have printed this out. I should have had this handy, and I kind of forgot to do that. So I didn't utilize all the information that I could have. But I literally ran back here, looked at this, and then ran back to the table, and then explained, okay, this is what the people know, and I would try to talk like the people are. Well, what we saw, or what we think, and obviously in this one, all I said was they saw a lot of beasts roaming around. That was very lively, and I'm going through really quickly. And then in the north one, I said the people heard about they saw creatures marching in a line, and that there's it's high radiation, so that's a possibility of maybe something there important, like technology or a hidden base, something. So they kind of knew that information. There was definitely some sort of marching creatures in a line, and then of course the daughter said ants. They got, soldier ants or marching ants. And then in this one, the scary skyline, is this one over here, this setup I did, which is, I'm not describing this well. Okay. I'm going to go back. I'm going back, sorry, to the Boglands beyond. To the northeast, there's a hidden hospital, and there's one gonzo robot with a plant covering on it that is in there, and it kills all the beasts around it and protects the med lab. But if they go up and talk to it, if they can get up to it and talk to it without attacking it, they could literally persuade it to allow them into the med lab. So there's that. That's in the Boglands beyond. But there's plenty of creatures that will attack them before they get there. Okay, that right there would have been a whole long session. All right, to the north is the Toxic Wasteland hex map, and I called it the Toxinorth. They called it the Toxinorth, and in that one is a secret military base, or hidden or long lost or whatever. But it has been taken over by a bunch of termite ants, large giant termite creatures. But in it, they would find some extra armor. Now I put a shuttle here on the map, and it's a small, it's only 3 big squares, a tunnel going down to it. Keep it small and simple, because they're going to be plenty of combat with the creatures, and I wanted to keep it a simple, almost like a one-shot type of thing. And in it, I put a shuttle, but the shuttle is useless, but they can take the armor off of it, kind of a thing. And there's other possible salvage they can find amongst the different little props I put in there. So it's a very small bunker. The rest of it is caved in and completely crushed and useless. Then on the northwest is a big city ruin skyline, and they talked to the people, and they were able to find a group that said, yeah, we were going to go there, but we watched it for about a week, and no activity at all, but we saw these red lights, in the middle of it, patrolling or something, so they're like, ooh, we don't want to go there. So, and this one obviously is a secret. This one's high level, the secret bunker base with security robots, and so that's what that is. And I created a basic using these spaceship map pieces, spaceship interior map pieces that you would make your spaceships with in the sci-fi version. I created just a little bunker, little underground secret bunker with bunkers, workshop, med lab, and a hangar bay, and a bunch of robot bays. So that one's going to be super high level, or whatever, not high level, but hard and difficult. The other, on the southwest, there's a scary skyline more. Avoid it too, avoid too. But basically I put down some ruin map pieces to remind myself. And then there is a one area there with some stuff that they can find. What did I put in there? Actually, I put hidden base of a non-working processor factory. Actually, if they find this and they set up a church in this one, and they get that processor factory working, it's non-working right now. It needs to be. If the church can actually establish a place and then start working on fixing that up, they will get access to high tech, because they can create high tech stuff there from low tech. So they would literally get every time they went and came back to this area, they would get some high tech for free kind of thing. But they would have to convert these locals who have a shaman and who are shaman controls all are sacrificial slaves of neighboring raiders or beasts to be determined. And so I got to determine that. And I don't think I ever finally determined that. But I will eventually. So to the far south is another bogland. I rolled that, and that was I called that the Bayou Boglands. And in that one is they talked to the people and said that the people said they saw flying almost like helicopter giant bees. So they definitely knew there was something, giant bees there. And so what this one is a bunch of giant bees on an island, a medicinal island. They make their honey, and the honey, if they can harvest this honey, is very good for making medicines and food. Okay, and then to the mountain range where they went, I rolled a very simple one. Fleeing tribe, scared, Let me see. Survivors, savable, potential new base, weak, flees. That's it. I said, you know what? That's enough. I don't need to write, do any beasts. And so in this one, there's literally no combat. And I knew this was the one they were going to go to because their families malnourished, bullying each other. Okay, so these people, and I didn't even use this map. I did a simple little mines with a couple little buildings inside of it, and that was it. And it's this one here. And I knew they were going to go there because that was the least dangerous. All the rest of these are like dangerous. Bog, toxic wasteland, mega ruined city. So they went to the mountains. And what was cool is I had them parked there like at night, because even though it's only 30 miles, you're going very slow because all the roads are in ruin. And they camped out, and it was kind of cool. They had their little camp out, and they did a little watch out, took turns. But she had night vision goggles. I allowed her to have that, the scout person. And through that, she spotted, they kept rolling really bad as far as their awareness. But I figured night vision goggles, you're going to see them. So they saw across on the other side of the mountain, she saw in the dark the glowing figures of these people watching them, and that was very cool, like suspense and build up for them. And they're all trying to figure out what to do now, because there's these people way out right across the hill in the dark that they can't see normally, but she can see them with the night vision goggles, and they're hiding behind the rocks there, and they're watching them. And it was a nice suspenseful, but then they decided to like drive away. I'm like, oh my gosh, the next day, because they failed at a couple of rolls to try to whatever they were doing, I forgot. But they decided, you know what, we're going to drive off. I'm like, what? What am I going to do now? Because I didn't have any of these hexes beyond set up, these three here. So I had to run over here, look at this, and then tell them there's this one has mountains, this is a flatlands, and this is forest. And so thankfully, though, they decided to drive back around and go behind the mountain where they saw the people. And thankfully, I made the encounter even closer. Like they could see up there on that side some hidden shelters and bunkers. And the people then came closer, and then these two right here, I had these two, or you can see in a picture here, I had these two, not this one, but anyway, these two tokens were hiding not very far from them and looking down at them. And of course they were using the next night, because they stayed the next night. They were looking at them with night vision goggles. And actually they spent the day, instead of going up to them, they spent the day foraging. So the doctor had a foraging skill, and she rolled like a nat 20. And so she got a bushel of food and extra stuff. The scout, the daughter went hunting, and she didn't roll that well. She rolled a basic 14, so a D4. So I said, you got 2 rabbits. So kind of 2 scrawny little rabbits. And then the guy, what did he do? Oh, he went looking around too, because he has research ecology, and he has ecology as a skill. So I let him roll that because of the environment. And so he rolled pretty high and found, I give him 12 medicinal berries, that, he wouldn't be able to make his medicine with it, but it would be good for locals. So it's kind of like a local thing. So they use that to then try to connect with them. And they rolled terrible. They don't have neither of them, none of them picked society as a skill. You see here, -2, and she has a 0. None of them picked spirit. The highest spirit is a 1. So they didn't have a good preaching, and they didn't have a good society. So they were having a hard time, dealing with the people. And here's the epic finale of this. They kept persisting, even though they failed. And, the guy argued, leave, go away. We don't want you, But eventually they used the food to bribe them, or put down their weapons and went with them and that kind of thing. And so they were able to go up to the place, and they were, the locals were still suspicious of them. But so they said, yeah. So the locals started saying, who is that? Because she did she has a miracle of healing. I gave her 1 blessing, the doctor, and so she did that to help with them and giving, helping one of the sick, malnourished kids. And then they are like, what God do you pray to? So they literally started talking like pagans, and, oh, well, do you pray to, and they would mention the raiders, because there was raiders that, attacked them. And so these survivors are hiding in the mountains. And they were afraid that these people, that the missionaries were raiders. Well, do you worship the same God as the Raiders? We worship our ancestors. So they were saying all this pagan stuff, and they, my wife, daughter, and son or suitor, had a hard time articulating the gospel. They had a hard time trying to respond to these pagan, we just, we have these altars over here to our ancestors who've all died and been killed by the Raiders or taken. I never said taken. I said just killed. I should have said taken. That way they would have, we need to go rescue their, which would have been a great thing. So again, like I'm saying to you, like I'm preaching on this channel, we're Christians. We go to church. I've been going to church for 15-ish years or whatever. The daughter's kind of grown up in the church. Well, since she was 6th grade. But they have no muscle memory when it comes to speaking the gospel to strangers who are antagonistic or oblivious to it. We have no muscle memory. You and I don't know how to talk the gospel or evangelize. Right? And this game, I'm being a pagan in it, playing a pagan. What are you talking about? And like they would say, our God and our Son, or Jesus Christ. Like one said that, oh God, and he said, and the guy said Jesus Christ, and the guy, oh, so you have two gods. And like, no, we have a Trinity that's one. And he goes, wait a minute, Trinity? You said you only have two, God and Jesus. And so they were like, oh my God, they didn't know how to. So, I'm playing a dumb pagan who's like, what? I don't get it. See? So this game is something they need, I need, you need, we need, or whatever. Put your faith in daily things, right? Look at the football. We watched football Sunday and it was great. I was rooting against 49ers and I was rooting against Kansas City because I wanted kind of a new, I like to, the underdog or who has not been to the Super Bowl yet. I hope they win, so the Detroit Lions and then I wanted the Ravens to win, but to hear Purdue, is it Purdue, the quarterback for the 49ers? I remember his name. To hear him say the glory of God and I know they're all Christian, like even the quarterback for Kansas City is Christian. I know that the Ravens one is Christian. I don't know about the Detroit Lions, but there others were. And I'm really appreciative of their talking about their faith right on camera. Obviously we don't need them to carry a cross in the football game. I get that, but a football game is different than role-playing games, right? They're not talking anyway. In a role-playing game, you're talking. You're using everything of your mental capacity to be in that game. That's why we need to bring our faith into it. We need to talk about God and Jesus in the game. And so in this game, for 3 hours, they only had about 5 minutes of actual gospel preaching, attempting at gospel preaching. The rest was role-playing, regular sneaking around, driving around, trying to figure out what's going on. It was a little bit of a slow process. Well, at the first hour, there was a little bit of Christianity, and being a Christian bunker, you're talking and praying. Oh, and then when the guy prayed, it's because when you pray, you can get that little inspired die bonus for the game. And he rolled a net 1. So they're all cracking up. We're cracking up. What do we do? So I said, well, he did a pretty good prayer too, like him, the person, or did role playing the prayer. So I gave him 2 die ring bonus for that, and he still rolled a net 1. And he did not. And in the die ring bonus, he didn't roll a 6 or he rolled a 4. So did not get that to cancel that. So I was like, so I think he did a good prayer. It was a rest. Then he cut a fart. he cut a fart at the end, like to be a clown or whatever. And then they were all cracking up and, I like, cause you ruined it, with the nat 1, you ruined the prayer. So no one got a bonus or inspired die. And so they kind of ongoing joke there where he would untimely, what's it? Fart. I guess fart's not really a swear word, right? Or whatever. He had I should have given him like that as a skill or a curse or whatever. Like he has an untimely propensity to do that. I might want to do that too. Actually, give him that as a annoyance skill. And in the Christians of Space, we have one of them has an annoyance skill, so it's kind of funny. Anyway, a great fun game. Look at that. That's just fun. It was good. I got to clean up a little bit just to make it streamlined for you and me. I got to put that transport into the skills there. definitely want to clear up. I do want to start getting a better formatting for the final booklets, because the game is really done. I just need to clean up thing that, I do have the PDFs on my site that have the first edition, and I'm making a second edition now as fast as I can. It's not much changes. I mean, you can get the first edition and then get the errata, which I will include in there shortly. I just want to polish it up a little more. It's just a matter of me doing it now, today, maybe in the next few days, finishing that up. And then I want to format it in a way that I guess is the tradition now, like the style. Let me see if I have one out. I don't have one. They're all kind of the old traditional condensed, but like basically the Shadow Dark, how they're bigger fonts, tons of pages, probably very little said, but I'm thinking about adding more pages and stretching out the rules. I made them all condensed, like I made it condensed like this. Everything's very condensed so that it was easy to have the information all on a couple of pages, which I would kind of like to keep. This is, for instance, the combat. I've did everything I could with success to fit it all on 2 pages. Actually, there's a couple other extra combat rules, but this is really all you need. And maybe I should have fun with the formatting and stretch it out a little and give you some breathing space and stuff. But I just wanted it to be all right there for you. So it's kind of dry in that sense. So I don't know. I got to figure that out. But anyway, okay. So this is my, I guess, like in the Trinity, a little Apocalypse GM prep and post game discussion. And I'm going to say something a little, I don't know if this sulking, maybe I'm going to sulk a little. I don't just talk the talk. I walk the walk. I do the actual GMing. I really get this online, and I don't edit. I want you to see the whole shamoo as a GM. The difficulties, I just talked to someone that's a new GM, and he brought up he had difficulties in playing the game. But I try to tell him those are typical things, that he mentioned. Like he had to homebrew some of it. I'm like, we all homebrew. That's typical of any role-playing game. And then he said he had, putting the map pieces out was a bit much. And I'm like, but that's typical of miniatures and maps. There's a time-consuming part of it to set up, even during the game. Like last night, I decided to just keep it theater of the mind, because there was not going to be any combat, and when they encountered the people there, they just were talking to him and trying to convince them, and they weren't, I wasn't going to do a combat, and it was toward the end of the night too. I was kind of tired. They were tired. It was at the end of the 3 hours, and so I felt like I didn't need to like brush aside these hexes and create a little map in there, because there wasn't going to be any real, fighting or sneaking around. So I skipped that because it would have been time consuming and tiresome to do that. If they were doing a combat thing, I most certainly would have put it down. But for this, I didn't. It wasn't necessary. But that's part of role playing. It's setting up the map. When they go to a new place and you got to take out these map pieces and put these down. That's part of the process of using miniatures or paper minis. So okay, this is my little trinity of the puzzles of the Apoc dissertation or discussion or whatever, just to help you if you are interested in playing the puzzles of the Apoc, and what my process is, and of course what I've learned from playing it. And you're gonna learn it. You got to do it. It is a little hard, but you got to go for it. And make sure you're with people that are good people. And, if you make mistakes or find it kind of boring, make sure you get them, you work on it and work on it together. And if they look bored, that is tough. And that's a discussion for another day. Like, if you feel like everyone's bored at the table, man, that's a rough one. I don't feel like I've had that in a while, but I feel tinges of it every now and then I got to introduce something to make it more exciting, or to make, get myself excited sometimes. That's a whole nother discussion. Comment below if you want me to do a video on that, because that's a good one. That's my way of, if anyone's listening to the end here. I should write that one down. Like, what if your game is getting bored? Let me go ahead and write that down anyway. But I appreciate all of you that are watching these to the end or watching my stuff, and I appreciate you. Luis and Christian RPG Christian guy. Yeah, I really thank you guys. Thank you so much for posting on there. And I know some of the others post on there once in a while, so I appreciate that. I'm trying to find my freaking pen. All right, I'll find it in a minute. All right. In the game of life, and in this game, we need Christians. We need to be Christian. You don't have to do my game, but whatever game you're doing, you got to put Christian in it and have fun. It's freaking amazing. You're missing out. You're missing out. You think Dark Dungeons and being a pagan is so exciting, and I get it. I understand, but it's not. You're in a dark cave. You're in Plato's cave, and you don't realize there's something else way better, bigger, more awesome outside. And I'm trying to call you. Get out of the cave. I know it's dark and cool in there, but there's a whole bright, beautiful world out here. All right, in the game of life, roll holy dice.